Hey Aquarius, welcome back to Souls and Stardust podcast channel. I am Shannon. I'm doing a reading for you today. Love reading. And there's already cards popping out. If any other soul messages do come up though, I'm like, can focus on love, but like if other soul messages come up, I'm gonna read on those. Like I use all of these decks as pure oracle cards. Okay, you are going through some shifting, Aquarius. Anyway, stick with me. I'm going to do a little something about that glare. Sorry about that. Well, I may not be able to do anything about that glare, but we'll look at the cards closer. So I'm going to use a number of different decks, and that's my standard. And we're going to go ahead and jump right in. We've got To Be Fair, we've got Building Blocks in the reverse, and we've got Regeneration in the reverse. Okay, Aquarius. Welcome to February. Whenever you watch this reading, it'll be perfect for you, but my intention with shuffling these cards is the messages that Aquarius needs about love or life right now. So whenever you watch it, it'll be just fine. So we've got To Be Fair in the upright. My dog is behind me sneezing, so if you need to look up dog energy, you might want to do that. This is a card, Aquarius, about balance and fairness. Okay, she has scales for arms, and she has a fortune cookie on one side, and I think that's an egg on the other. I would need to put on my reader glasses for that. And an owl, which is pure intuition, sitting on her head. This is balance, justice, a need to consider options. It's about being in a dynamic that has mutual benefit, making sure you're not over giving. I'm getting like a strong Libra tie with this too. Like that's the zodiac of the scales, right? So it's just hitting me hard. So Aquarius, like maybe you have some Libra placements, or maybe you're involved with a Libra. I have an Aquarius moon, but I am a Libra with a stellium in Libra. So I don't know. I'm just getting like Libra vibes as I tune into this. So this is a card about making sure that, you know, you understand that there are experiences in life that are nourishing, and there are experiences in life that are not awesome. So this is that striking the balance of experiencing things that are good, experiencing things that are not good, and making sure that you discover like that balance of between being and doing, learning and resting. This card is indicative of, like needing to find fairness in whatever you're in right now, making sure that if you're in relationship, Aquarius, are things just right now? Is there balance between give and take? It's a time for like listening as well as speaking. It's a time for holding space, but also for speaking your truth. It's a time of understanding as well as like asking. Just all of the dynamic, like consider all of the dynamic of the relationship that you may be in. Or if you just got out of something, or if you're trying to call something in, this card is asking you to be as much a student as you are a teacher, to be humble and to listen and understand as much as you want to be understood and to speak. It's about being willing to learn and remaining open and objective. When we go into defense, it means we've got some kind of wound or insecurity that's putting us there. This is also about weighing options and considering all sides of things. So before you like freak out about something, make sure you take a deep breath and try to understand it from all sides first, Aquarius. Just remember, like the best kind of relationship is one where there's mutual benefit. So making sure that you feel heard, valued, and respected, but also that the other person that you're with feels that as well. And perhaps that is something that has been talked about. Maybe you haven't been feeling heard. And, you know, the Libra is justice, right? So you may need to be paying attention to like the ways you have been oppressed, or maybe that you've like facilitated oppression of another in the relationship you're in. I mean, it can go both ways, right? So we always want to be accountable to how we show up to a relationship. We have building blocks in the reverse, and this is a card of like strong foundations. It's a card of beautiful work in progress. In the reverse, this is a card about examining any cracks you may have in your foundation. This means that you need to look at how things may have changed for you, like how your own values may have changed, your beliefs, what you want and don't want, how has that changed? So it's a time for like strengthening your convictions on some things, but also letting go of like what's outdated and doesn't work anymore, especially if the vision of your life has changed. So in relationship, if you're in relationship, you may have been talking about how maybe things have changed between you, or that, you know, what you used to value has shifted, and now that's putting you in discord with your partner. Or maybe it's, you know, you chose to ignore some things in a situation, and you're realizing, like maybe you ignored them at the beginning and you're realizing how actually the agreement isn't right for you anymore. So this is the time for you to understand how fair things are, how equitable it is, like for both of you. If you're compromising too much one way or the other, either or partner, because of a change in values or the realization that your values are different and there's these cracks, like you don't have a solid foundation, or it could be stronger. This is the time for you to be looking at that. And perhaps Aquarius, like that's what's coming up for you in your relationship, is how do we reinforce the core of our relationship? Like, how do we make sure it's integral? How do we make sure it's strong? It's a time for you to be like brutally honest about what's needed and how there are differences that have come up and what are the potential solutions. And remember, you're like creating space to be heard and to hear and to understand, but also ask questions. So it's like, this is an opportunity to upgrade your like the level of your relationship, or as you're calling something in, you're deciding like what it is that's valuable to you and what's non-negotiable. So I would say, like, don't be afraid to like take out what doesn't work anymore or what's not solid. It's like, this is an opportunity to work together to like strengthen the bond, or the goals of your, you know, like revisit the goals of your relationship. Like, hey, what are we really trying to do here? Like, what are we working toward? What do we want that to, what do we want our future to look like? And if you're not with somebody and you're trying to call that in, this is you being brutally honest with yourself about what you actually want, not like what you think you need to have in order to feel safe or comfortable. This is like, what do you actually want? And let that be brutal, like let that come from a place of brutal honesty with yourself. Like, you know, do you really want that, or is it you want that because somebody else wants that for you, or you were conditioned to believe like you need to have something like that in order for it to be successful or legitimate? I think that that's for a small subset of you who are going to be watching. And we have the regeneration card in reverse. And this is a card about like rebirth and renewal. You can see there's a tree that is growing from like a lava bed, and it's blossoming for probably the first time ever since its rebirth. But this is a card that's in the reverse. It signifies like endings coming in many forms. This could be like, you know, revisiting a like taking stock of relationship and deciding what needs to change and deciding to move forward in a new way. This also could be you hanging on to relationship that might need to die. Like maybe in this reevaluation of your values and your goals for the relationship. Maybe you have this feeling that this isn't a good match anymore. And I mean, we'll know more as I pull more cards, but this is definitely a card of like allowing whatever needs to die to end, right? And that could be like an old way of doing things. It could be an old way of communicating. It could be like the actual relationship is ending, or maybe this just happened for you, Aquarius, or you've been thinking about it because it's, been on your mind and you're currently working through that. Just know it's happening for a reason, Aquarius. I have a feeling that this is about some bigger soul lessons. I'm going to go ahead and pull from the tarot. What does Aquarius need to know about love and relationship for February or right now? This one wants to come out. Okay, that just came out for the Capricorns, but in the reverse. So Five of Swords. Okay, we've got Nine of Pentacles in reverse. And the Star card. That's your card. That's you showing up in your own reading. Is there anything else that needs to come up for Aquarius? Okay, not for that deck, I think. So we have the Five of Swords. This is definitely, swords are about mental clarity. He is holding his head like he has a headache, right? And he is like got his eyes closed and he's probably thinking to himself, oh my God, why did I do that? Why did I have to say that? This is conflict. It's unfair, like advantage. So if you're feeling like you've been in relationship, if you felt like you haven't been heard or you've been treated unfairly, this can also be a card of feeling like you're losing or you've lost. But it's also negative self-talk. Like, have you not been giving yourself enough credit in this relationship? Or if you're trying to call something in, are you being really hard on yourself about what you think you deserve, Aquarius? Like, that we can be honest with ourselves about that too. Like, how are you selling yourself short? Or how are you lacking confidence in yourself? Or you feel like you're not enough, or you need to become something different in order to have a beautiful relationship. So this is confidence, but really I feel like this is more like this has to do with communication. So maybe some things were said that afterward you're like, oh God, that wasn't so nice, or you've been being really hard on yourself. I feel like also for some of you Aquarians, this could be like you're trying to talk about what you need or what's fair or what's different now, and you can't get your point across. It's like beating your head against the wall. Like, oh God, why don't they listen? Or you may have said something that you didn't mean to say and you're like, oh, why did I have to say that? So this is a card about, you're really in your head. You're really trying to figure things out. There's some big lessons here for you. I also feel like some of you, that the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, this is like the single and independent card, but in reverse, this is, this could be like workaholism. It could be, and perhaps like the friction in this relationship, or, sorry, my face is itching me. Perhaps the friction in this relationship is partly around like, how do you build a solid foundation financially? Or maybe you're trying to figure out whether or not to merge financial resources, or I just heard like buying a house together. So that's only going to be for a few of you. This is a need to evaluate your relationship with work, like what needs to happen. But I feel like this is also about, money doesn't have to be everything. And maybe someone was focused too much on like material wealth in your connection, or you have just very different ideas about what wealth looks like and what's needed for stability. It feels like this is more of you, Aquarius, or your partner. If you're in relationship, you have very different ideas about how money should be spent. And that's like come up in conversation. This is also a card of like just working too much, and and or feeling like your payday hasn't come yet. Um, and for some of you, what I'm getting is that you somehow need to look successful on the outside in order to have credence, or maybe you feel pressure to be more successful or appear more successful. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what this feeling is. Like, you have, perhaps you or your partner, or if you're single, this is going to be you, where you feel like you have to really make it. You may be focusing on your finances right now and feeling like really frustrated that you can't build a solid foundation. And maybe the only way that you can build a solid foundation is if you have a partner. That could be going through some of your heads or in your hearts. This feels more like, this could be like, if I have to end a relationship, I don't know how I'm going to survive. I don't know how I'm going to be stable. How am I going to do this on my own? So there's a little bit of a lack of confidence, but it's also this like, this over emphasis on, I just keep getting the sense that the like difficulties in how do we build wealth together, and we just have very differing ideas. And if you are alone, it feels like you are thinking about, how am I ever going to do this on my own? So your priority for a relationship will be based on the need for stability, which I get it. That's nice. But that's not what the universe wants of you. The universe wants you to have like the fullness in your heart, and the stability comes from that. Okay, we're going to see what else comes up. But the star, that's your card. This is like a card of healing. It's a card of, so she's like wishing on a star. Look at her, look up, so hopeful at that star. This is expectations. It's wishes fulfilled, like expectations fulfilled, opportunities. It's also healing after big trauma. I really actually feel like this is what you're hoping for. It's a card of hope, and like, am I on the right path? It's inspiration. You have to expect miracles, Aquarius. This card, however, like, it's attached to or touching this card of regeneration or rebirth, or like needing to let things die. So I do feel like if some of you are in a partnership and you've really been struggling to like figure out how your values align, and understanding that maybe that might not be the case anymore and something has to end, like, I feel like at the same time, Aquarius, you've been wishing or hoping that the answers will come for you, like that, or that what you've been hoping for arrives. So some of you have been maybe like manifesting a way out or some solutions to this, of course. But just know that like, this is a card of hope and expectation and healing. So needing to stay positive and understanding like, what am I learning from this? And just being honest and allowing the universe to bring you what you need, regardless of what you think needs to happen. Ask for your best and highest good. I'm going to ask for more. What does Aquarius need to know about this Five of Swords and about this situation? What does Aquarius need to know? That was a big group that I'm going to put back, but this one is poking out. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, we've got the Eight of Wands. So anything else that needs to come out for that Five of Swords? Why is the Five of Swords here with, to be fair? Okay, that Eight of Wands is, all right, okay. Another 8 card. Oh, we've got, okay, here we go. So Eight of Wands, this is a card of rapid movement, haste, forward progress. I feel like whatever it is you're working on here with your person, or as you're manifesting your person, stuff's going to change very quickly. Like, this is rapid movement. This is going to be like forward movement, passion, like purpose. It's driven. It could be like fast resolution. It could be like fast communication, even though they're wands, they're not swords. But this is quick growth. So for some of you, once you like get on the same page and you decide like what needs to change, like what are you rebuilding, and then the apologies are made, right? Like, this change is rapid. There's also a big shift in you, Aquarius, in terms of like how you feel heard, and then also how you're communicating. Maybe that's what your partner is asking of you, is that you communicate differently, or differently. Or you're communicating more on like what you need and then hearing what they need, but also like, how are we going to come together on building this solid foundation in a balanced way that's not so focused on work. Like, we get to focus on the things that give us hope and pleasure and healing. We also got the Eight of Pentacles, which is like, this is learning something new. It's also like working very hard. It's goals. Like, you guys, I think, are like figuring out what your shared goals are and what the priorities are for the relationship, like building a future. For some of you, how are we going to build this future? Whereas maybe you hadn't talked about it before, and then you decided finally, or realized like, we really should be talking about this. For some of you, like, it's going to be so different that you have to let it go, and you've decided to ask the universe for that wish of a new situation. But this is the card of hard work. It's mastery. Some of you may work together with your partner. You may be together in the same workplace, or you met at work, or you have a business together, or you're going into business together. That's going to be for someone very specific, I think. So once you kind of figure it out, like, you're going to be partners in a lot of ways. Yeah, I can see somebody's going into business with their partner, and you guys had to hammer out deals. Like, you have this really cool idea, and you're going to be building wealth, but you have to figure out what's so important for you, like, as the basis of a stable relationship. Like, how are we going to prioritize that without overworking? But you're building something, and all of this is going to happen fast for you. That Eight of Wands, like, you're going to quickly create. Okay, for some of you, there's a worry about instability. I feel like whoever may be watching this that is deciding to end a relationship, or like maybe you're watching this and you're like, oh God, this is my sign, right? Like, you've been feeling it. There's perhaps like you're making a choice despite worries about financial loss or instability. I feel like this is more just insecurity. It's not like a huge loss. Maybe you have some debt, or maybe you're worried about racking up debt. This is a card of like, it's indicative of like, oh gosh, I really need to get my stuff together and work hard. And also, like, there's this worry of, if I go, like, how am I going to do this on my own? I feel like this Ten of Pentacles is speaking to that worry, but it's just unexpected. It's like that unexpected change. Like, all of a sudden you don't have that extra amount coming in, or that extra help, or even like the emotional stability of that person to support you. So it may feel like loss or failure, but it's you deciding or understanding how, the values that you had may have been divergent. And this may be the necessary part, Aquarius, of starting new, is feeling like you're starting over. I feel like there's more to this story, though, that way. So what else does Aquarius need to know, especially about the star and endings? What else does Aquarius need to know? Ooh, oh my goodness. So that was a lot. We're just gonna see. That was like 4 of them. So I'm gonna pull we've got the 5 of Wands, and it's in the reverse, okay? The end of conflict. Some of you are just leaving this relationship, and that's okay. Like, you feel peace. Some of you are reevaluating with your partner about your values and your goals, and you are actually deciding, like, okay, we have to do things differently, because this is a card of compromise when it's in the reverse. The 5 of Wands is in the reverse. So it's peace, it's cooperation, it's making an agreement. Those of you who are going to go into business with your partner, who are in business with your partner, like, you've figured out some of the things that were causing you issues, and that's great. Or you will soon be figuring that out. Like, this is a card of harmony and compromise. We also have the Ace of Cups. So, you know, some of you are really wishing that you could figure it out, and you did. So that's awesome. Some of you are also leaving the relationship, and it's the end of the conflict because you're leaving the relationship. This is opening the door for new opportunities. You have the Ace of Cups. It's a gift. Ace of Cups, it's a gift from the universe. This is positive energy attached to this wish, right? New opportunities, positive changes. It's celebrating. It's a new relationship. It's also like an incredible self-love. You, Aquarius, if you had decided to step out of a relationship, or you are deciding to step out of a relationship, this is self-love. This is you honoring what you need, and loving yourself enough to do that. But this also a cup like overflowing with emotions and love and joy. And it's like, things are fertile for new beginnings. I honestly, for somebody who's watching, like, you had to get out of this relationship because there's something that was waiting for you. And it's a cup full of emotion. Somebody wanting to give you that also is a very specific message for somebody. Let's just see what else we have. Your girlfriend's No BS Love Oracle. Actually, I'm going to pull from the other tarot deck because I just feel like, okay, what does Aquarius need to know about this situation? What's the advice for Aquarius? We have the Queen of Cups. Compassion, comfort, calm. She's a nurturer. Emotionally stable. For some of you, you're leaving this situation and you are coming back to yourself. You're regaining your power. She's also very intuitive. So for others of you, Aquarius, you are really tapping into your beautiful intuitive energy. We also have the Queen of Cups, or Queen of Pentacles, in reverse. So this is a need for self-care. This is actually, it can be conflict, like work-home conflict. And as you remember me talking about, like, for some of you, you are going to be starting a business or in business or working with your partner, and there's this conflict around working too much, or our values not being aligned, or what is our goal here? And for others, it's the goal of the relationship. But like, for some of you, it's like, how are we managing this work-home life? And that's part of the big discussions. This also can be like self-centered energy, and maybe a little bit smothering. So maybe someone or both people in the connection need to work on letting go a little bit and being more open, like open-minded or open-hearted. But there's definitely, this is also a card of conflict. So whatever you're in, Aquarius, like, you are definitely working through these disagreements, or there's these rifts, or this misalignment in goals. And values that's causing conflict. For some of you, you're just straight up walking away. And that's okay, because something else is coming in that's necessary, like that's better. Others of you, you're finding solutions and you've figured out how to work together. And this Queen of Cups is like really nurturing energy, really wise, intuitive, caring, emotionally stable energy. So for some of you, as you've come to these agreements in this relationship, like it allows you to open your heart and be so much more compassionate, less defensive. What else does Aquarius need to know? What else does Aquarius need to know? There we go. What's this one? Oh, and some of you just are like stuck in your head about this, right? So negative thoughts, self-imposed restriction, being a prisoner in your own mind, essentially. This is, this is the card of Gemini, right? So air signs, this is a lot of mental energy. This could be like needing to be really aware of how you're falling into patterns of negative thought and why. Because in order to move through this challenge or conflict, Aquarius, you have to be willing to listen as much as you want to be heard. And you have to be willing to understand as much as you want to be understood. That's how you're going to come to solution or to understanding about whether you stay or go. But solution if you're going to be working together. This, since I asked like about advice, Spirit's basically saying like, how are you trapped in your own mind about this? You're gonna have to free your mind about what you think is possible and be really, really open-minded about what the other is thinking or what kind of newness would actually benefit you. It's also another 8 card. So you have the 8 of Wands, you have the 8 of Pentacles, and you have the 8 of Swords. So 8 is, card of prosperity. It's a number of prosperity. So once you guys get your ish together, like, it's going to be really good. And those of you who are walking away, despite like the worry of financial stability or like confidence in yourself, like I think of Pentacles too as like confidence in self, something really beautiful. Like you're going to have peace and you've already been wishing for what it is that you want, but you have something like really beautiful coming in. And whether that's like more self-love, that's followed by like a beautiful offer or opportunity, like whatever it is, it's good. I'm going to ask for messages from this is the Heart's Hidden Secrets deck. I'm just going to see, what does Aquarius need to know? We've got some cards coming out. We have Heart Fog, Mixed Signals, Blocked Emotions, Messed Up. Okay, so this is definitely the energy of like you guys feeling and thinking different things and needing to really evaluate how you align in all of it. So it's miscommunication, it's misunderstanding. It's also like not really being like super honest with yourself or with your person about what you've been thinking or feeling. Cloudy Judgment, Illusions, Unbalanced, Distorted. This is the energy of like, hey, what's going on here? So this totally aligns, Aquarius. Like you guys need to sit and hash it out. Or if you're calling someone in, you need to get very clear about what it is that you value most and what's non-negotiable for you in a relationship. Like, are you distorted in your expectation or thinking or fantasy about what a partner is? Like, get very clear about what's most important for you. And we've got Beauty, charming, graceful, kind-hearted. I really feel like this is the energy of when you're coming into agreement and your heart is opening up after, like, you have to be honest, but you also have to be willing to hear like the kind-heartedness of giving space to another so you can figure things out together. Ask for anything else. Could be too, whoever's coming in for you, Aquarius, is very charming and graceful and kind-hearted. That'd be awesome. We have commitment. Some of you are gonna like get to the next level. This is making agreements and promises, and you know, hey, let's do this. We're gonna start a business together. Let's do this. I love that. And I'm going to give you messages from your person if you don't have one yet, or if you're in separation. Here we go. For those of you where things have ended, I'm sorry I couldn't be what you needed me to be. The distance between us kills me. That's the need for discussing. The need for getting on the same page. That can be emotional distance. It could also be like physical distance, Aquarius, where you've got to figure out, you and your person have to figure out, like, what are we working toward here? And maybe it's a situation, we didn't have any cards that signified like living at a distance or traveling. But maybe it's a situation where someone lives at a distance and they would have to make choices about how are we pooling our resources? What are our goals for this relationship? Or are we walking away? Okay, I'm going to pull a couple cards from your girlfriend's No-Bullshit Love Oracle. This isn't a vibrational match. I'll let them show themselves out. Those are for those of you who are very clearly walking away. With some of these cards, some of you are walking away. And for some of you who are choosing to work on it and finding that common ground, this is divinely interwoven and magical. I believe that too, like especially for those of you who are figuring out how to build a life together. That's awesome. Here you go. Trust your vibes on this. You already know the answer. All right, Aquarius, I hope this is helpful for you. Please let me know how this resonates for you in the comments below, and I will see you very soon.